Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're posing the question, does Thailand have strict laws and so-called poor enforcement? I thought of making this video after reading a recent article from the Pattaya Mail, that's pattayamail.com. Article is titled, Does Thailand Really Want Humble Expats Anymore? And I'm going to quote one line from this, but the whole article is insightful. I urge those who are watching this video, go check out that article for more detail. Quoting directly, Thailand tends to be a country of strict laws and poor enforcement strategies. I will say I probably would have said that myself at various points throughout my tenure in Thailand in specific circumstances. That said, I think this can be said for many jurisdictions around the world. There's a great line, well, great, but an interesting, if you will, line from Andrew Jackson, where he was talking about Chief Justice John Marshall of the U.S. Supreme Court in the context of the Cherokee removal case from Georgia. And I'm kind of intimately aware of that because I have Cherokee ancestry in my background, and it's really not the greatest point in American history. I'll leave it like that. But Chief Justice John Marshall of the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against Andrew Jackson moving the Cherokee Nation, and Jackson ignored him with the line, John Marshall's made his law, now let him enforce it. It's an interesting line because it shows that there is a difference between promulgation of laws, that's legislating, and enforcing laws, the executive branch, if you will, in the American vernacular. And this is a key point because people can get sort of flippant and kind of cynical about laws anywhere or here in Thailand specifically. And, well, you know, they don't enforce anything, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's an opposite to that. I remember sitting around, this was actually prior to 2014 and the major changes that occurred there, listening to the expats at the time, because at the time, the big gripe amongst the expat community was, all the police are corrupt, blah, 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 which I never really found to be the case, but, you know, I'm not the end-all, be-all wealth or font of knowledge, but I always thought it was an over-exaggeration, and you know, folks would say, oh, they don't enforce the laws around here. And I remember sitting around talking to some old guys and saying, hey, you know, I happen to know from colleagues of mine in my office and everything, Thailand's got a heck of a lot of laws. You know, if they really start enforcing in earnest, it's probably not going to be something you like. Well, lo and behold, some years later went by, and the complaint you started hearing from the expats was about guys like Big Joke, who were actually enforcing immigration law and were scrutinizing people for their immigration requirements. And people had a huge problem with that at the time as well. The point I'm trying to make is, look, at the end of the day, there's always going to be an inherent disconnect between the creation of laws and the enforcement thereof. But to say that Thailand has weak enforcement, I would say that isn't correct. And I would say actually in the aftermath of this spate of so-called foreigners behaving badly that we've seen in the first half of 2024, I think if anything, you're going to see more stringent enforcement moving forward, not less.